Hi, this is Trey Pass. I'm going to do a reaction to another Mr. Nightmare story. This one is called 3 Disturbing True Home Alone Horror Stories by Mr. Nightmare. Again, like I said, I'm a big fan of Mr. Nightmare, and I've been doing these for the past, I think I did one yesterday, and then two on Sunday. So I guess, and one today. I'm going to see if I can do one tomorrow, Wednesday, and one on Thursday. So anyway, let's get right to it. And again, I'm a big fan of Mr. Nightmare, so again, please hit the like and subscribe button, and I'll leave the link to Mr. Nightmare's channel in the description box so you can check him out. Okay, so let's get right to it, and I'll be right back with my reaction. Okay, let me put my headphones on. Okay, and let me get a little closer, and hold on. Let's see if I can just move this up a little. Whoop. Sorry about that. There we go. Yeah, that's it. Okay. I just want to get a little closer. Hold on for a minute. Hold on. There we go. Beautiful. Anyway, let's get right to it. Okay, here we go. Right now. Wait, hold on. Let me. Okay, here we go. Here we go. Right now. Go.
So recently, I had an experience while I was at a friend's house alone watching his dog that inspired me to do another Home Alone themed video. I spent so much time reading stories of people's horrific experiences that I forget these things could happen to me too. In a bit of a different fashion, I'll tell that experience I had after the viewer submitted stories at the end of the video.
Story 1 by Kristen Mercer.
Growing up, I was raised in rural Michigan. There was hardly anything to do. If you like staring at trees and crops and lots of alone time, that was the place to be. I got out of there as soon as I got a car and enough money to move. I'm not a nature hater or anything, but I'd pick being by a big city any day. My parents don't own that property anymore. They sold it 5 years ago, but to describe it, it was a 3-acre property. The house itself was pretty big, and there was a storage building out back. I was 13 when this happened. My parents would leave me alone often at this age. They trusted me because I matured at a young age and I had responsibilities on the property.
Okay.
It was a weekend, and I was playing Vice City on my PS2 in the living room, when suddenly, a loud metallic bang came from outside somewhere in the yard. I right away ran to every window I could to look outside to see if I could see something, and I didn't see anything until I got to the window looking out to the storage building out back. The door to it was completely open. I went immediately to grab the rifle from the closet and go outside.
Good.
I made my presence known, shouting "Who's in there?" to no avail. When I got to the door, I made it known I had a gun before looking inside. There was a bunch of stuff in there, from the sit-down mower to the quad to infinite little lawn care items. Someone could have been hiding behind any of that stuff. Even as a kid, I didn't scare easily, but at that moment, I got really unsettled. So I closed the door to the building and went back inside the house. I locked the door and then sat at the window for the longest time, watching the storage building, expecting the door to open at any second. That door was heavy and impossible to just open by itself. It was simply a fact that someone came and opened it. Whether they were still inside of the building, I wasn't sure. I decided to go call my dad and ask his opinion. I went to the kitchen to the landline phone and called my dad's cell phone. He didn't pick up, so I left a voicemail. This was back when you'd still have to leave someone a voicemail because texting wasn't mainstream. After that, I went back to sitting next to the window, but now I put on a TV show in the background to make this less monotonous. I took the phone with me. I was probably about to give up when I heard creaks from upstairs. My heart was now in my throat. I had to ask myself the big question: was I working myself up, or was someone here? I had a serious guard dog mentality. Even if I didn't love that place, I saw it as mine, my family's. I had to protect it. But I was in over my head. I grabbed the rifle again and walked upstairs. I didn't say anything. Calling out would only make a potential intruder know that I heard them. I made it to the top of the stairs, and I turned on the light for the upstairs hallway. There were 5 doors to open, all of them closed. 4 led to bedrooms, 1 led to the bathroom. Each door had a decently large crack underneath that would allow you to see under. The creak in the ceiling I heard moments earlier came from the side of the house my parents' bedroom was on, so I got down on my knees and looked under the crack of the door, and I saw 2 bare feet facing the other side of the door. I felt my stomach twist into a knot. The reality of the situation just became so much more real, and I realized I wasn't ready to threaten or, God forbid, shoot someone. I got up and quickly went downstairs, and I hid in the bathroom to call my dad. He still didn't pick up.
Call the cops.
I left another voicemail, and then I called again and again. He never picked up. He must have had his phone set down somewhere. I finally called 911, as I should have done right away, and I whispered into the phone the whole time, detailing exactly what was taking place. I was told to sit tight in the bathroom and not say a word. I heard footsteps coming down the stairs, and then they approached the bathroom door as if whoever it was somehow knew I went straight to the bathroom. The footsteps stopped outside the door, and there was a brief pause before a deep voice said, "What's up, kid?" I still remember the voice and those words so vividly. If I heard that voice today, I'd still recognize it immediately. I almost wanted to cry. That's how scared I was. I disobeyed what the operator told me, and I spoke. I said loud and clear, "I'm on the phone with the cops right now, and I have a gun." I put the operator on speaker as she was asking me if everything's okay. The man attempted to open the door, and when he realized it was locked, I heard him walk away. I heard the footsteps fade to silence, and then the sound of a door slamming. It was the sound of the back door. I'm sure I breathed a sigh of relief, and from there on, I waited for the police to arrive. When they did, I felt like 1,000,000 pounds just lifted off my shoulders. After a thorough inspection of the house inside and out, confirming that the man was gone, they asked if there was anywhere else I could stay that night, and I said yes, my uncle's house. We contacted my uncle, who came and spoke with the police. Then he took me back to his place. The thing that haunts me the most is that it was my fault. I could have prevented this. I left the door unlocked as I went to the storage building to investigate. Clearly, that's when the man simply walked right into the house. Even with a rifle in my hands, I didn't feel safe at all. It was truly the most horrific experience of my life.
I can imagine, yes. Oof. Story 2 by Kate.
I was 18 when my parents went away on a week-long anniversary trip. My sister had already moved out by this point, so I had to hold the fort. My parents' property is enclosed by woods and a dirt driveway leading to the road. The road is a quiet back road with equally sized properties running alongside it, all of them separated a decent distance, so it's a really isolated feel up there. Everyone in town knows each other. You see familiar faces all the time for the most part. At the gas station, at the grocery store, at the bars, which I'd learn a few years later when I started going to them. Speaking of gas stations, this story starts one day while my parents were away. I was at a gas station filling up my tank when a black Jeep Cherokee pulled up to the pump next to mine. A man with a goatee stepped out, greeted me, and started filling his tank. In that town, it was normal for strangers to greet each other like that. He had his nozzle locked into the gas tank, and then he walked around to my side of the pump and went, "Excuse me, do you know how to get to the interstate from here?" I helped him to the best of my ability. He pulled out a notepad and started writing down the directions I gave him. Very odd how he wouldn't just do that on his cell phone like anyone else would. He thanked me and asked if I'm from the area. I said yeah, I grew up here, and he said he's from out of town. He didn't specify where. He then went back to his side and put the nozzle back in the pump. He then asked my name, as he said, "It's nice meeting you." I said my name's Kate. He said what a lovely name, and then got in his car as I got into mine. I drove out first and turned left to go up the road back home. It was only a few minutes worth of driving before I was approaching our turn into the driveway. I slowed down and put my blinker on, then turned right onto the property. It was at that moment that I noticed the car behind me was that same black Jeep Cherokee. He passed me as I turned into our driveway. He went the complete opposite way that I told him to go to get to the interstate. As he passed me, he didn't slow down or anything, so it seemed that maybe he just forgot the directions I gave him and went the wrong way.
No, he didn't.
I let myself inside and went about the rest of my day doing whatever. I think it was that night that I was going out to meet up with my friends that I stepped outside and walked to my car and heard the sound of footsteps nearby. Like I said, the house is enclosed by woods, and this was in the middle of the summertime. It could have been any number of animals, so I didn't investigate. I just got in my car and left. But when I got back home hours later and walked from my car to the house, a man's voice from out somewhere in the woods called out Kate. I got the chills as I looked around, and then in a panic rushed to open the front door. I slammed it shut and sat on the couch to breathe. The neighbors all knew my name, but the houses are not on top of each other, so it's a bit of a walk. And there was no reason for one of them to call my name like that, like a creep, and not identify themselves.
Exactly.
I decided to call my parents to tell them,
Call the
and their
cops.
explanation was it must have been one of the neighbors, and they'll probably knock on the door. I didn't tell them about the encounter at the gas station. The next day, which was a Saturday, I stayed home most of the day, and later that night, I once again was going out to meet with my friends. After getting ready and everything, I went outside, and as I was walking to my car, I heard loud and clear from the not-so-far distance, someone called Kate again. This time, I didn't wait a second. I ran back inside the house and locked the door again. I called 911 this time, texting my family while doing so. After 2 cops showed up to the house, they looked around the perimeter of the property with their flashlights, then came back and said to call again if this persisted. I didn't feel much better after this. It's not really like they did much. I refrained from going outside until the next day when I had work. I was a server at a nearby restaurant. I was working a late shift. I left the house in broad daylight, paranoid to hear that voice again. Thankfully, though, I didn't. Maybe seeing the police car finally scared them off. After many hours at work, I was ready to go home and collapse into bed. I pulled onto the property, parked my car out front, and walked to the front door. I stopped when I heard the sound of footsteps again. It didn't sound like an animal's footsteps, though. I stood on the front deck for a second, waiting, and then that familiar voice yelled out again, saying, "Kate, don't call the cops on me again, cutie." I yelled out, "You need help, you're sick," and let myself inside. I called the cops once more, and the cops came again, searched the perimeter again, and left. My parents told me I should stay at a friend's house for the night. I couldn't agree more. They would be back the following night, so after that, I would feel much safer being there. My friend Alex told me I could stay with her that night, so I packed a bag and was ready to go. I checked out the windows first to make sure the coast was clear. I then went outside and locked the door as fast as I could, then ran to the car. As I turned the key in the ignition, I heard something right to my left. Right outside the driver's side door was a man wearing a face mask trying to open the door. I couldn't even scream. I felt like I was choking on air. As I put the car in drive, he started hitting the glass with his elbow. I looped my car around on the grass and sped down the driveway, and I turned right up the road and didn't stop until I got to Alex's house. I was hysterically crying the whole drive there as I had Alex and her dad on the phone with me. He said he would have come and picked me up had he known the situation. He called the police together for a 3rd time in total. A couple officers went to my parents' house to investigate again, make sure no windows were shattered or anything. One officer came to Alex's house where I once again gave my description of what happened. This was probably the most action these cops had seen in a long time in this quiet town. Thankfully, my parents came home the next day, and I felt safe staying at home again. I fully believe the man at the gas station followed me home intentionally and scoped the place out, realizing I was by myself, and for whatever reason toyed with me until he actually tried to pounce and get me. I shouldn't have given my real name, and I should have been more alert to my surroundings and realized he was following me in my car that day. Some people are nuts and have way too much time on their hands. This incident was a huge motivating factor in my moving out to my own apartment a few months later.
Yeah, I don't blame. Story 3 by Brad Handy.
I was home alone one night for a reason I don't remember. All I remember is my entire family was gone. I was 15 or 16 years old. I was a big gamer at the time. I was obsessed with StarCraft, and admittedly, I'd sometimes spend a weekend night or two playing StarCraft or some other PC game. This was right before COVID lockdown started. I was playing StarCraft on my computer in my bedroom on the 1st floor. That's when the doorbell rang, twice. I hurried to the door, not wanting to be away from the game for too long in fear of losing. I got to the front door and said, "Who is it?" as I always would if I was alone. A soft and weak voice on the other side said something that I couldn't hear. It sounded like a woman. I opened the door, with the storm door still separating me and this older woman standing on the other side, with a big smile on her face. She had her hands behind her back. I said through the door, "Can I help you?" She said she needed to use a phone and asked if she
No,
could
she
come
don't.
inside.
Nope.
Ever since I was a little kid, I was always taught not to let a stranger into the house, ever.
Nope.
That included women.
Yeah.
I felt so awkward, though, I didn't know how to turn her away. I redirected her to the library a few blocks down, because they'd
Yep.
surely have a phone.
Yeah.
Deep down, I knew the library was closed at this point, but I was just trying to get the stranger who was trying to get into my house to leave.
Exactly.
She was still smiling, but what she said next did not match her smile. She said, "That's very rude to turn away an old lady asking for help." I replied the only way I could think to, and that was that my parents don't allow strangers into the house. It's a house rule. I slowly started closing the door as I was saying sorry, and she just stood there, not moving, but still smiling at me. And though her smile never changed, it suddenly felt much more menacing.
Oh.
I was walking back to my room when the doorbell rang again. There was no way in hell I was opening the door again.
Call the cops.
That woman radiated weird vibes from the start.
Call the
Maybe
cops.
something was wrong with her. Maybe she wasn't all there. These were things I had no way of knowing, and maybe that was selfish of me to send her on her way. But I just wasn't opening the door for anyone when I was home alone. I went back to my game. Not too long after I sat back down, I heard something tapping on the window.
Oh, God.
It was a clinking type sound from something metal. The window was directly in front of my desk. I had the blind pulled down so I couldn't see what was making the noise, but I already had an idea. My room was the only room with a light on in the house.
Oh,
The
God.
horrible thought that it was the old woman from just before, and that she walked over to my window, terrified me. I turned off the sound on my computer. At this point, I didn't care about my game anymore. The clinking sound on the window persisted. I basically said, "F this," and up and left to a different room in the house. I sat in the darkness of the living room for a bit, when the doorbell rang again. This woman was harassing me now. I tried to convince myself she wasn't a threat, just some crazy old woman who's probably clueless as to where she is. When she rang the doorbell a second and third time, I decided to go open the door and ask her if there's someone I could call for her. But when I opened the door, there was now a man on the other side.
Oh.
He looked to be about 10 years younger than her. He said through the storm door, "Have you seen my mother?" I replied saying yes, she came to my door just before. He then apologized to me and said she has dementia and got out of the house. I suddenly felt bad, but he asked me if he could come in for a minute, and again I felt awkward. Why did he need to come inside?
Exactly.
I said the same thing that I told to the woman who we claimed to be his mother. I said we could just talk through this door. I then said that I think she went into my backyard because I heard something at my window. I told him he could go around back and check. He thanked me and walked down the walkway, and I thought he went into the backyard. But when I went to the back and looked out the back window expecting to see him searching around, I saw nobody. Not him or his mom. This was all too weird for me. I went to bed on the earlier side that night, just falling asleep with the TV on in the background, until I heard the clinking sound on the window again.
Of course.
Something metal was tapping on the glass. I remembered the concerned man, and I decided to try and help. I went to the window, lifted the blind up with my hand, and I saw that woman outside my window, with that same creepy smile. She was tapping a kitchen knife on my window.
Oh.
I closed the blind and crawled back into my bed. This didn't feel like it was actually happening. A suspiciously short amount of time later, the doorbell rang like 4 times. The clinking on the window stopped by this point. This was all too suspicious. It felt like some kind of robbery attempt. I ignored the doorbell. I stayed in my bed. I was gonna wait this out. I didn't have a cell phone at this time. I wasn't the most social guy growing up. I also didn't want to call the police for some reason. I waited this all out until it finally stopped. The next morning, I told my dad what happened when I called him. He told me I was smart not to open the door. Everyone agreed that everything about it sounded like an attempted robbery.
Of course.
Is there a chance that maybe that woman really did have dementia and that the man was really her concerned son? Maybe, but it all seemed too coordinated. Why did he want to come into the house too? How did he even know she came to my house specifically? Why didn't he ever go into the backyard to look for her when I gave him permission to do so? Too many unanswered questions that lead me to believe I avoided something terrible happening if I opened that door.
Yeah, he should have called the cops too.
So as I mentioned at the start of the video, a week ago as I'm recording this, something happened to me personally that inspired me to revisit this theme. So my friend Cody asked me to watch his dog Theo for the night. Theo's a little Pomsky and he barks a lot, So when he started barking like crazy at something going on outside, I didn't pay any attention to it besides telling him to be quiet a few times. But when he went to the back door and kept barking, I figured he wanted to go outside. So I was going to the back door to open it, but as I got close to the door, I realized someone was trying to open the door from the outside. And then I saw through the screen of the door there was another guy looking right back at me. This was in the backyard, which was already alarming enough, and he wasn't someone I recognized to be a family member of Cody's. So I asked him who he is, and he responded asking me if I'd seen Melissa. Melissa is Cody's younger sister who's in her 20s. Meanwhile, this guy looked like he was in his mid-50s and homeless. So I told him he needs to leave. There's no Melissa who lives here. And he said, "You sure?" So I said, "Yeah, you need to leave. There's cameras all over the property." He left right after that. Getting him to leave was easy, but when Cody asked his sister who that guy could have been, she said she had no idea. The guy looked like he was 55, drunk and filthy. Not exactly someone Cody's 20-something-year-old sister would be associating with. The fact that he went to the back door and tried letting himself in was actually pretty terrifying because you could only imagine what he was trying to do to Melissa, and it's why so many of these stories could be avoided by just keeping your doors locked.
And calling 911. Oh, okay. Oh, man. Those are good stories. And the Mr. Nightmare one, yeah, exactly. I don't know why people don't call 911 the first time you hear something weird. Okay? That last guy, come on. You keep entertaining this. You know, she's banging on the window. She had a kitchen knife. Oh, my. And then somebody else comes. Come on. Call the cops. Okay, I can understand if you don't have a cell phone. But use your phone. I didn't want to call the cops for some reason. What reason could there be to not call the cops? You have two people trying to break into your house and do God knows what to you, and you don't want to call the cops. Oh no, I'll just sit in the dark, okay, and hope they go away. Oh my God, that's insanity. No, you get yourself a weapon, okay, and call 911, okay, and wait till the cops come, okay, and then the cops come. The cops can either catch them or chase them away, okay, and don't sit and. Oh my God, that guy, I'm sorry, that's got to be I don't care how antisocial you are. You call the cops so the cops can come and protect you, okay? Oh my God, you sitting there and she's banging on the door. Obviously, that's a setup to rob you, to get into the house. And okay, when it didn't work with the woman, okay, and then she did that thing, then, the guy came and again, you're truly lucky that nothing bad happened. They didn't break a window. And, they figured out, okay, he's in there by himself. Okay, and maybe the guy would have broke a window and stuff and got into the house. And come on. No, you get a weapon and you call 911, okay, and you lock yourself in the room and you call the cops and you lock yourself in the room so that way the cops can be there, get there, hopefully within a couple of minutes and arrest them, or chase them away. I think that last guy I'm sorry, I think he was an idiot. Because how the hell are you just going to sit in there and not call 911 when you hear these weird people ringing your doorbell, tapping on the window, and then she got a kitchen knife, okay? Oh, my God. Come on. Obviously, they were there to rob you, okay? And they probably knew, and they probably figured out that you were there by yourself, okay? Because nobody else came to the door, okay? And you never know what their next step could have been. You are truly lucky that you survived that. Oh my God, I'm sorry, that guy was insane. The guy was kind of stupid, okay? Now the second story, oh my God. Again, that's the fear about, especially when you live out near the woods and all that stuff. And come on, she's by herself, she's a woman. And again, like I said, not to be sexist, but you are vulnerable, okay? Okay, and obviously this guy followed you out. Why you didn't, you gotta be aware, okay? You gave the guy directions and then you went first. No, you should have let him go first. Okay, exactly. Obviously, he followed to see where you are and you saw where you turned off. And then he took a chance by coming by, once you gave me, and you should have never gave me your name too. That's another thing. Okay. And that's just incredibly creepy. He's coming by the house saying your name. Oh my God. That you are truly lucky. He didn't try to, maybe he was guessing and thinking, okay, maybe somebody's in the house with her. There, and that's why he didn't break into the house when he saw you coming, and obviously he was stalking you, okay? And he obviously, oh my God, the last minute, you lucky you got into the car. Why would you, I don't understand why when you call the cops, you didn't leave, okay? Okay, when you call the cops the second time, you didn't pack, stuff and just say, okay, you know what, I'm gonna go stay at my friend's house and go leave with the cops. No, you're gonna let the cops go and then just wait around and then call your friend. And no, that's please, that's horror 101. You don't wait till the cops leave to leave. No, you leave with the cops. Okay, once the cops came that second time, you should have left with them. Say, you know what, I'm gonna stay at my friend's house till my parents come back, and then that way, there's no way he's following the cops, following you and the cops, because you go out first, and the cops go behind you, and there's no way he's gonna follow the cops, because the cops will obviously be looking to see if anybody's following you. And then you could, again, you are truly lucky that he was just stalking you, and which is, I don't know, he was getting a thrill out of that, because what was preventing him from, maybe he was figuring that maybe somebody's in the house with you, and then maybe at the last time he figured, oh, okay, there's nobody else in there but you, because he didn't see probably nobody else coming and going, only you. And then he made his move, and thank God you was able to get to the car and drive. Oh my God, that could have ended horrifically. That's why you don't, again, especially if you're a woman, and you should either have a taser with you or some mace or a knife or something. You got to have some kind of weapon with you, especially when the guy was creepily calling your name and stuff. Why you didn't you should have got a weapon too. That's another thing. Again, especially women, again, get a taser. Okay, a taser is great. Okay, that will just stop and drop a big grown man. Okay, you hit him with that taser, he's gonna drop like a sack of potatoes. So she is truly lucky too that she didn't, get snatched up. Okay, because oh my God, again, when you live out and the houses are separated that way, and by the time you can try to even attempt to run to the neighbor, he can already catch you and then do God knows what to you. Now the first story, again, he was 13 years old, so I can't, I'm glad that he had a gun, but oh my God, I think I would have probably, I don't know if he'd have fainted. You see the feet underneath the door. But yeah, like he said, he, unfortunately, when he went out to check the door on that structure outside, he left the door open, and that's when the guy creeped into the house. And then, oh my God, then the guy saying your name, hey kid. Oh my God, that would have, oh my God, that would have freaked me out too. But again, these people wait too long to call the cops. They should call the cops right away. They hesitate and do things. In this case, he had a gun. So, but then again, he was panicking, saying, will I be able to shoot? You know what? It's your life. Okay. Okay. You cocked that gun. I would have shot that guy through the door. Okay. Exactly. Screw this. Okay. As long as I'm assuming since he has the gun, he knows how to use it. Okay. I would have shot him right through the door. Okay. Right through the door. He would have caught the double barrel right through the door. Okay. Screw this. He's terrorizing you in your own house. Come on, man. You're 13 years old. Like I said, I can excuse him because he's 13 and something, you're young and you panic and stuff. But oh my God, like I said, I wouldn't. They don't call 911 fast enough for me. These people wait too long. Okay, instead of calling them right away, call the cops. Let the cops come. Okay, and get a weapon and barrel and board yourself in a room. Like I said, I'm in my room here. If I hear something, creeping outside this door, especially in the middle of the night, okay? If I know my stepfather's in there, but if I hear something creeping around and stuff, and moving stuff around, and I'm not gonna go out there and to double check to see if it's my stepfather. No, I'm gonna make sure my door has a lock on it too, which is good. I'm just gonna pick up the phone, call 911, say, look, I think somebody might have broken into my apartment, give them the address, and I got 2 bats over there, and 2 golf clubs, metal golf clubs, and I'll just wait in my room, okay, and holding the bat, waiting for them to come, okay, just, I'm not going to investigate, okay, screw this, okay, but again, those are 3 creepy stories. Oh my God, I felt the woman, oh my God, she could have, that could have ended really bad. Again, that's the fault of you being in these houses where especially you're by yourself. Come on, come on. And like I said, she didn't, I don't know why she didn't think about it. This guy the guy asks you your name. Screw that. I'm not, give him a phony name or something. Oh, don't give me your name at all. This is just, okay, you gave me the instructions, okay? And I would have let him go drive first. There's no way in the world I'm going to let him follow behind me, okay? I would have waited in my car till he pulled out, okay? There's no way in the world I'm going to let him see where I live, okay? This is, no, I'm sorry. But like I said, sometimes people don't think of these things because, you know, you're living your life, but that guy actually watched, yeah, he saw where you were, and he actually stalked you. That story was scary. The second one was really creepy. All of them was really creepy, to be honest. Oh man, even the Mr. Nightmare one. I don't know how these people, again, even Mr. Nightmare, you see somebody and ask, I'm not having no conversation with this guys. I'm gonna call the cops, okay? And tell them, get the F away from the door. And I'm calling 911. Okay, I'm not having no long conversation with some guy who looks homeless and he's like 50 in his 50s. He looks homeless. No. Okay, I'm gonna get a weapon and call 911. Okay, so there's a creeper outside the back of this house. Okay, that I'm dog sitting. Okay, send the cops immediately. Okay, and I'm holding on to my weapon and waiting for the cops to come. That's me. But anyway, let me know what you think of these stories. I think this story was really good. These stories were really good and really creepy. Let me know what you think of these. For Mr. Nightmare, please hit the like and subscribe button. I'll leave a link to Mr. Nightmare's channel in the description box so you can check them out for yourself. Also have links to my Facebook, my Twitter, my Instagram. Also have a link to my other channel, Bob Views and Opinions. Please check that out as well. Also have a link down below to my Patreon. And again, my Patreon's only $5 a month. I have tons of content on there, tons of unedited content on there. I have over 180 videos on there. I have everything divided into 5 collections. I have a movie collection, a DC TV show collection, a Marvel TV show collection, a Star Wars TV show collection, and a Gen V and The Boys collection. So I have them all separated that way. And you also get 5-minute previews of all the content that I have on my Patreon page. If you want to support me that way, I would greatly appreciate it. Also, I have a merchandise store, which I opened up a couple of weeks ago. And I'm wearing one of the shirts that on my merchandise store, my logo, Trey Passer there, on this baseball shirt. And then thanks to Jay, again, for designing this for me. And I put this on in my merchandise store on a lot of items, sweatshirts, hoodies, hats, T-shirts, water bottles, everything. Follow the link down below to my merchandise store. And if you want to support me that way, I would greatly appreciate it. Also, give this video a thumbs up. It helps the channel, and I truly appreciate it. Also, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, so you know when I upload new content to this channel. And this is Trey Passer saying so long, and take care.